the gal go free. I sit in the courthouse with my face hid in my hands. I sit in the courthouse, face hid in my hands. And it's all on the count of one trifling man. I mean one trifling man. I left my mother, the best friend I had, was a man that took me. That's why I'm all in bed. Nobody gives me sympathy. That's the reason why I cry for me. Sitting all alone, I can see 1,000 miles away. Sitting all alone, I can see 1,000 miles away. I can see the man that made me what I am today. He has made me weep. He has made me moan and groan. He has made me weep. He has made me moan and groan. Took me from my home and left me all alone. Left my mother standing in the door. I left my mother standing in the door. With her hand on my head as her kiss fell to the floor. All my clothes is torn, both the soles wore off my head. All my clothes is torn, both the soles wore off my feet. And my heart so broke that I've got them for me My mother always told me that I had a splendid voice. In fact, I'd sing in opera if they'd give me my choice. I wrote to Oscar Hammerstein that I would be his star. He said, come down and sing for me, and I'll see how good you are. And I don't suppose I'll do it again for months and months and months. No, I don't suppose I'll do it again for months and months and months. I sang the wise old owl, and he left the room at once.
Welcome to Riven by me and this is I'm Remy. You can call me Ray. I'm a game programmer, game developer. I have a formation in 3D modeling and game programming. Both formations were focused on game development. So I have about 3 years of professional experience in tech as a tech artist, or rather we can also say artist, generalist. So today we will continue where we left yesterday. So now we are at the moment in time in our project construction where we are setting up all the tasks all at once, at least for the MVP, my minimum viable product, the pre-alpha, we can call it the pre-alpha for the demo demonstration, the first version, initial version. So we did we have set up our TDD with the diagrams yesterday. Okay. Okay. Close up on the screen. Okay. So let's go back to our so where I was debugging, so maybe I can do it since I'm debugging, I will do it elsewhere. So let's continue project. If you want to know and you missed it, my project is I did the team planning. The next one I will try this one, the next one, and the next one just to have an idea of how it works, what are the difference. But I said I will also try show you Jira and the other, so we will see. You will see when it would be time to do the other version, the next version. I don't understand why it always create one when I click in project without going further. So I started in French the first task. They call it issues in Git. You can label it another name later when you convert it to an issue. You can label as anything you want it to be. What so far, what I'm not very fond of right now is that I cannot do like subcategories. Let's see if I can. Okay. Board, we have 2 boards, 2 tables, 1 roadmap. Okay, in Jira you can do like subcategory in the roadmap, which is cool. It seems that they classify it by priorities. P0 is my top priority, and I guess that maybe you can set them somewhere, give the name you want. So let's continue how I worked. Is that since now my document is in development and all the files are down for the moment, my documentation is. Oh, is it? Let's refresh. I was working on debugging it, so okay, the pages are there. Let's open the draft. Okay, it's there, but we are in main, so maybe yeah. So it's down for my development build I was doing just before the live. What I will do instead, I will build it in VS Code. Oh yeah. TD documentations. I will rename the folder eventually to remove the plural, because I don't think you say that in that way in English. Okay, so now it has built. Let's go live. TDD in the pages. Draft. Okay, so this is where we left, and I will put this on the side so I can create the other cards. So mechanics might not be useful because this explains well. So there is a interface, mobs, skill tree, and level. Those are with the mechanics. Those are the main, each color of my so they are the main each task I need to set, the main features. But in GitHub where is it? Where is it? Yeah. So in GitHub we cannot do like a subtask something. maybe we can do like a custom, not roadmap. Delete this one. A custom board. Let's try it. And instead of priority boards, it will be something else. Let's try. How can we? Yeah, I think that's it. Let's see. What are these settings? Group by priority. Let's see if we can group by something else. Status. Estimate. Milestone. Repository. Priority. Estimate. Okay. Maybe milestone. And then we go to milestone and create our own. Let's see if I can group. Yeah, I can. I might be able to use labels. Let's try to set up the milestones. Sorry, man, I have some kind of pain in my back. Let's save that. So, I don't remember where. Where do we set the milestones? It was with the. Oh, the chart. The chart is working. I need to take some Tylenol. I have too much pain here and there. Okay. The labels. No, this is not the labels. I can set different type of priority. Don't think I can modify them. Doesn't seem. Can add a new field. Let's try this. Maybe we can make like categories. Category. And feature, no. Category. Text field. How can I like things to this? Okay. Priority. It has like an arrow thing. Maybe I should pick like the arrow thing. Single select. Yeah. Let's try this. Iteration. And let's see. Maybe it could be interesting. Let's try like 1 week. Yeah, okay. Can be interesting. Like we are in the first iteration. Maybe after the MVP we could use this. Let's set it later. So let's continue with the categories. Category. A single select. Yes, we can. I hope we can add. We might need to recreate it later, but let's just want to see the chat and the categories. We have the skill trees. Skill tree. Oops. We have oh no. Let's use the lowercase level. Yeah. Mobs. Oops. That could be a product like NPC or AI. Brother is better for that case. Level, mob, NPC, skill tree, HUD. HUD would be a user interface, and this one might be uppercase. I don't like it. I want to be consistent. Let's be consistent. UI, mob, mechanics, skill tree and mechanics. Let's try this. I hope I can come back later on. Okay, I can. I thought it was grayed out because it was closed, but I just need. So if I want to add a new priority, I can. Okay, I can modify them. I can rename like ASAP as soon as possible. I don't know what other name I can like orange would be soon. And then can wait, something like that. Waitable. Can wait. And like green one like later. size, it's okay. Estimate, nothing to put. Backlog, ready. It's hard to understand the difference. Okay, it's understood. Imagine if someone started it but put it back to stop, then it can be ready. Sometimes it's useful to know that no one started it. Usually when you make all the first tasks, as we do today, you all put them in a backlog first, and then you distribute later on. I like on pause category. Sometimes you need to pause something, but people might be putting it to ready, so ready can take the place for the unpause. Okay, let's go with that. Let's see if I can change this one. So we use the filter group by category. Yes, and then we can rename category board, and we can put it first. It's just after the backlog. Yeah, it's a bit the same. I think we can put it first. Why is it blue? Why is it blue? Might be because it's my custom thing. We will sort them with the categories, not labels. Remove that. Okay, so we need to add the categories in there. No milestone. MVP. This needs to be put set up there. Yes, categories. So this is the Robotnik controls is a mechanic. Yes. Now it begins to look like something. Okay, next. In the mechanics, there is what else? There is just one mechanics? I guess not. Okay. This is like the this would be like a main category, so the issue with that is that no one will work on all Robotnik's control, so I would need to rename it because it's Robotnik's control are the mechanics there. If you look at my trick, my mind map, mechanics could be replaced with Robotnik's control. It's just if we add another that is not Robotnik's control, another branch, it could the other branch could branch out from mechanics but not from Robotnik's control, so that's why I keep it. Oh, let's continue. I would rename this task because because it's not there are too many subtasks. It's not like Jira. You can have like a category that contains other tasks. Let's test this just to be sure. I don't think I can. I don't think I can like pick a parent. No, I will leave it. I'm pretty sure I will see later on if that's not the case, but this one needs to be renamed to collecting. Let's say we keep the thing there for every subcategory, like a parent category. We would keep this in the title. Let's see if it come out correctly. Yeah, it enters all the bugs, so anyone can read it. It doesn't hide under the limits of the bugs. So this is broken because my page are not built, but as I said in French when I did it, you want a single source of truth, so avoid using the description as much as possible. Use your documentation link, and in French I noticed that to make a link to the compiled version that I created, you need to undermark raw equal 1, and you can add the hashtag section of the which is the hashtag is the little header. So if you click there, you will see it will add the hashtag. You can give this a 21, and it will link when they will put in their browser. It will bring them to the section. Like if I scroll elsewhere and press enter, it brings me back to this section. So if you want to use the compile documentation I created in YouTube, in the description below there is a link to my Gumroad. You can pay $0. I will add you to my mailing list, and when my documentation will be done, I will create a template without Unity that you can use in any other project. That would be only the GitHub workflow that compiles on when you push the documentation and the documentation folder. You can then add any kind of project. This will be removed. Everything that is related to Unity will be removed. So I will give you a blank project with only those two folders, the README, and this compiles when you push on GitHub. GitHub run those script which compiles and swap the let's find this is your working files, the MDPP. This kind of file can do includes. If you don't, you cannot do includes on Markdown alone. You need Markdown PP, which is preprocessor, I think, or post processor, I don't remember. It will my code in the YAML files in GitHub Action. When you push on GitHub start the YAML and change those links for the include, and then it use Markdown post process to replace the include, which are those two navigation menu. So if you want to modify your menu later on and you have my template, you just need to modify those two. You don't need to think about what this is doing, except if there is an error you need to tell me and I will debug it, but I'm doing most of it right now. So you need to know that it builds the result in the documentation file. What is going on? Something is missing. How can I see this if it is missing? That's so weird. Let's rebuild it. Yeah. Oh, I remember it. It's the settings. So if you want to see the folder, pages and GitHub folder that it creates when you build, so build will create the two folder, but they are hidden in VS Code if you use with VS Code. If you want to see them, you can turn this to false, the one below to false. I will put them all to false so that you can see the folder. So it creates pages and GitHub. Since it's very light, that's not so problematic that it makes the project in double. But I hide them because sometimes you can confuse this with this one. You can confuse the MD file with the working file, so it's better to hide them so you don't modify the build files instead of the working file and lose you can lose jobs because you will override them with the build. So it's better to hide them. But if you want to see, you can put this to false. You will see the files, and eventually, as you see, if I go to the working file GDD draft, it has placeholders. What the build does is for the GitHub folder, he puts an include there, and for the page folder, he puts another include. And those includes will include either the GitHub for the GitHub and the pages for the pages. So there is a bug there. This one shouldn't be there. It should be this one and this one. I will debug this later. So as you can see now, the navigation is replaced by what is contained in this file. So it takes this file and put it there, and the result is that it keeps the pages there. So because pages is replaced in the other draft. As you can see now, GitHub is not replaced, but Pages is replaced. That way, your user, your teammate, if they prefer GitHub compiled this way with the Markdown viewer, they can click on the README file just to show you. If like they are, often the level designer with or the artists which are not like programmer, we might prefer to see the compiled version with the menu with less code and interfaces to deal with. So if you go to the README, this would be in your GitHub, at the base of your GitHub. There, it will be there, and then you lead your teammates here, and your teammate can pick between GitHub preview, which is the preview when you click a file. There you have a preview when it's an MD markdown file. Now I'm in debugging, so we don't see them, but there's a preview button that will lead them there if they choose this menu, and it will be the markdown that we have here with the GitHub preview. But if they pick the raw navigation, it will bring them in. Right now this won't work because you need to be local. It's local, so it won't work locally. So if they pick it, it will be the compiled version with Markdown Viewer. But they need to install Markdown Viewer as explained in the first pages. So this might be problematic. I'm just debugging yet again during the live stream. I might need to change the navigation to make it easier, so you would be able to navigate locally when you are on your computer, because right now the link leads to GitHub. So I will correct this. Okay. So next, I will continue this creation. Cancel this. Yes. So preferably don't explain in the description, link it to your document. You can do task. You can take the task. This is a markdown task that don't work that way in the documentation, but in edit you can write this and it will create a task list for your teammates, so that they can show where they are at to other teammates. So when people want to, they're waiting for them for something, and they can see the progress. If they are cool, sometimes it can be good to know when something is getting close by. You can prepare, you can see your teammates advancing, so you know that you better focus on something close to next. Let's say this task leads to another task that you want to work on. and you have other priorities, but since your friend is getting by and closing in on his own task, which will lead you to start the other, that way it's very good to see someone interacting this way. You might not be on the same time zone sometime, and you don't meet often, like the Strum might be on separate time zone, or even you went in vacation or something. Any kind of reason can be useful, explanatory. So collecting, so I will link it to collecting. Collecting, it did, just to be clear, I will do this. It's in the draft and it's only collecting there. I will rename this collecting to one good thing in difference to the markdown, the non-raw file, the non-raw the documentation will be faster. You don't need to enter the link that way. So how can I test this? I will try. I try to build it, see if I can showcase it. Maybe I'm maybe too much into debugging and no files are building yet, because I'm checking, I'm debugging case by case, so I don't remember where was I when I was debugging before the live stream. So let's see if I blocked the build or not. It seems that I didn't block everything, so I can try the TDD draft. The GitHub is not there, so it won't work. But maybe it will work with this. So you would copy this, since it's still, the only difference is the menu. The menu will not work because it's in GitHub preview for the pages, but GitHub documentation, the menu will work inside the system, the preview, GitHub preview. So what is better with GitHub preview rather than the compiled markdown is that when you put a link, a raw link, it doesn't work, and you update, it doesn't work. It worked in the French live stream yesterday. Weird. I put it the link and it did this. Maybe I need to copy a navigation thing, like let's see, let's go back to the mechanics, then copy with the hashtag. Let's try this. that's why it worked. No? No? Weird? It's weird. Maybe because I don't know. I don't know. I would need to retry it. I don't know. Maybe it was because I can't understand. Okay, so collecting is there. I need to do this too. So collecting resources, collecting detection, collecting resources, collecting. So this needs this kind of what you can write here is that like collecting resources in English. Needs resources dropping. So we will do this task. We will need to go back for this. So I can I will lead to the same link. This one might need a description because it's not in so much in the documentation. But I would prefer to have one source of information as much as possible. So what I will do is I will put this information in the documentation. Why do I have the build file. So TDD that. And now collect resource collecting, and I will put the description underneath this. It's not at the right place. It's here. Resources dropping, and I will remove guard and walls. I would what needs to drop resources one layer robot nexus dig in it. Metal sheet resource drop metal sheet. For now, it will change eventually. And wood board. Guards CD drop metal sheet when drop loot when dead. Metal sheet only. We will complexify it later, just to have the basis of the system. This is not the main mechanic, so I keep it as simple, just as like a placeholder or something, just to have the basis, the structure and the basis for the main mechanics, which is the combat system. I know it's the programming of the Robotniks, the main system, the main mechanics. So what else that will be assigned to me for now? Since if you want to help, give me a shout in the comment, YouTube. You can hit the my Discord in the description of the video if you want, or find my email somewhere, might be in the about section or something. So this is a feature, and it's in the Epic MVP. The project, it's my project. Milestone is the EMVP milestone. Let's submit this issue. This would need something. It needs something. So this is blocked by another feature. That's what it needs. It's blocked by another. So the usual naming is a block. Collecting resources needs resource dropping. It's blocked. Is the usual wording in project management. The task is blocked by the other task. It meaning that this task needs to be made beforehand. This is I forget that I need to change this. It can wait. It's since it's not now the only this section, it's just the collecting. Collecting will be easy. It will be easy. Small X large, extra small. I would say something like small, just to be fair. Let's say like 1 is 1 hour, 2 is 2 hour, 4 it's 4 hour, 8 it's an afternoon or evening, 16 it's 2 days, 32 would be like half a week, 64 would be a week, and so on in exponential growth. So you can use like exponential, or the other one is the one is usually used is The other, which is one, would be like 1 hour. 1 plus 1, 2 would be 2 hours or something. 2 plus 1 equal 3 would be it's the I have it on the tip of my tongue. Golden, it's not the golden rule, it's Fibonacci. Sequence. You can use a Fibonacci. This is when I heard about how to notate it, but I find it harder to. The arithmetic is harder than just an exponent, so I go with exponent. And this task, I would say, like, just by looking at it, control collecting, I need like a system that detects the resource drop. And it's only the system with the resource detection and taking the resource in some kind of way. So it needs to put it somewhere in a pile or in a stack or in an array, or else it needs a system like that. So I would say like a few days, like something like 3 day maximum. But when I do like this 3 days, that I know it would be 3 days, I double this number. So I would say 6 days, like a week. And a week, I said it's a week would be if one is an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8. I can do the 1, 3, 4. Eight. 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 8. 1. And just the arithmetic is simpler with but at the same time it's not, it's easier to understand how many weeks, how many days with Fibonacci. Let's think. I think I will use Fibonacci instead. I'm just really bad at memorizing the number. So it's 0, 1, 1, 2. Let's see, like 1 would, let's take this. 1 would be 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. 5 would be like an afternoon or evening. 8 would be a day. 13 would be like 1 day and a half. 21 would be like half a week. 34. And yeah, I think it's better my exponential. My exponential is better, like it's in hours. So 1 would be 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 would be a day. 16 would be 2 days. 32 would be 4 days. And then when you go to 64, it would be like 1 week at least. So I said this would be 3 days. 3 days for the 2 would be 6 days. So I would put 64 to a week at least. So Next. So collecting resources is blocked by resource dropping, and I will do the task I said, like needs structure to gather the resources. Let's say like an array. I always prefer to start with an array because they are the most efficient in terms of memory and cache misses. An array of not of reference type, but of value types, as we seen yesterday in French, I think, or I don't remember. This would need to be updated maybe in the TDD too, by the guy who I end up choosing what would be the system. So he would like at the end of his task, he would specify what are the structure that he created. So we need it needs zone resource detection system. I don't like detection system in Unity or any kind of game because it adapts to the loop of the game. So the loop, if you have a lot of detection zone, the loop of your game needs to go to each of them, and it can be possible that it adapts to lags. So what I did to avoid this, it was a system that deactivate the script, so it doesn't go into the update of the script that detects when the player was far away from the detection zone. That can be a way to do it. So what else? Let's is there something else? I could put them there. Let's put that for now. Unticked. Okay, it's a space. Is it? Yeah. back to the other. I need to return to resources digging, which has no status priority. It's a bit prior to the other one, which was can wait. Since this one is weighted by the other one, I will make it soon. And let's see it in roadmap. Okay, I don't have the date, so it will be before this one. So this one can be moved. Oh yeah, and I didn't re-edit the time. So this one I would just put our 1 week, Friday to Friday, and then go to the roadmap. And now we have them side by side. How can I navigate in this? I don't have a pan or something. The arrows. Okay. Can I block like block by? I can. I hope I can. I could only hope. I can't. That's the table. I can do a block by sad. A bit sad. The priority will tell. No status, backlog. This is resources dropping. It's small. Estimate. It would be a bit shorter. Like 32. Category, it's in the mechanics. And oops. MVP. Development. Don't create a branch now. What if I put in backlog? There is no other. And create branches there. What, didn't I see the create branch here? Yes, it's there. And this one is blocked by another. It's blocked by the drilling. By the drilling and the fighting. It's not completely blocked because you never block in program animation. Really, you can fake the dropping with the keyboard shortcut, like you can make debug tools. You're never really blocked, but since I'm alone, I would like to make do them in order, so that when I don't need to create tools to debug. I can make everything in order, one after one. But I will write it anyway in case if someone comes to help, and he knows that he needs to make a tool if it's blocked by. Resource dropping is blocked by guard, and I dropping resource and all the fucking so you could, as I said, make a tool that drop. So, but the thing is that the main focus is to drop from this. It's not guard dropping, it's fighting. Combats. So I will be able to link the task. Copy link, resource dropping. Let's see if I edit. Can I? Yes, you see it did create the link automatically for the issue, so now it links the other to the other issue. I will need to do this for this one too. That's all you do your task. You need to do them all first. So next would be the combat system. I would need this. Can it wait? I don't know. Not bad. Create a draft. Combat would be larger. Not the largest. Will be long, I would say like 2 weeks, so I will put 4 weeks. 4 weeks of 1 day to 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours a day. 2 days, 4 days, a week, 2 weeks. So I said 2 weeks. A combat system, like 1 week max. I would say 2 weeks would be fine. I won't put the dates yet. I will wait a bit. I would copy the link. No, convert it. Wait a minute. If it's soon and it's wait, it can't wait. I will put that can't wait because another is waiting for it. I can wait now. It says up. And maybe I can make them a bit less demanding. Can wait soon. Okay, I will put it at can wait, the other one at soon instead. Okay. And combat. Let's convert it to issue. Okay. And now I can copy and put it in dropping. Okay, so since this one is soon, I will change this. So this one is soon. I want don't want to use ASAP for non-main. So this one would be can wait. And this one will be soon. And this one would be later. So can wait soon, and the next will be soon too, which is the wall digging. Digging. I forgot for the combat the labels, didn't I? Milestones. Where labels? It's an epic feature. I don't think I need epic since I have it. I have it here. So I might delete the label epic there. Why is there two projects? What? What is going on? It turned to a milestone. What? Oh, I need to save. That's why the blue. That's why. So once you do this, save. I will take a little break. So I hope it was helpful. I'm really doing just a little break for a few minutes. So see you in about 10 minutes. So, no one in the chat? Let's go. Now I can copy this. So, digging, I feel like it would be some kind of large, a bit long, like 2 weeks. I would say 1 week, but double it to 2 weeks. So 8 is a day, 16 would be 2 days, 32 plus 128. I will put the date later. Okay. Combat, did I do this? Yes. Did I put the labels? Yes. Okay. Next. Now. What do we need to do? Let's see with the mind map. Digging we did, singularity, crafting, combat, collecting. So we need the crafting. So do the crafting. It needs the resources, but we can cheat. But since I'm alone, I would prefer to have them one after the other. So it needs the resources. And the resources can wait. So I put it to later. It's a bit large, do like the others. Big, no date, convert to issue. Label, picture. Send to me. Milestone MVP. And a link. A link. Let's copy. Nothing. That would be only like this. So it's blocked by resources. But we can cheat. I won't repeat again. I will just hit it and be blocked by resources. And collecting, resource dropping, it misses something. We need to create a card for the resources themselves, like a scriptable object or something. Let's see, just want to quick description of what the scriptable objects are. So let's go into my usual YouTube channel. Need something short. Yeah.
Scriptable objects are standalone serialized assets. Unlike mono behaviors, you don't need to, and can't, attach them to a game object. Scriptable objects aren't here to replace monobehaviors, they're here to be used together with monobehaviors and complement each other. You can have a monobehavior that holds a reference to a scriptable object instance, and then changes its appearance and stats based on its data. Dividing the work, where our monobehavior is a shell that takes action based on the provided data in the scriptable object. We can use this strategy to slim out a busy editor. We might have a lot of variables like speed, jump height, and character sprite on the character component. We can replace those with a single scriptable object reference that is tailor-made to store those values. This strategy can allow us to have multiple preset variations, which we can plug into that monobehavior and see the change instantly. An added and important benefit to this approach is preventing duplicated data on prefabs that would otherwise share the same values. Whenever you instantiate a new prefab, it would get its own copy of the values described in the monobehavior. If those values are the same across all instances, we can replace those value variables with a reference to a scriptable object, where the data is stored once and used by many copies of the prefab. Scriptable objects are perfect as data containers or modules that can hot swap into place for a dynamic experience. However, that's not the limit of their power. Using scriptable objects, we can introduce some new patterns into our codebase, like the event pattern, or extend and improve an existing one, like the singleton pattern. Today, we'll check out the basics of scriptable objects and use them as editable data containers. We'll go over the other patterns in the future, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay tuned. So let's get started. Creating a scriptable object is straightforward. Instead of extending monobehavior, extend scriptable object. And that's it, you're done. This class is now a scriptable object. However, an empty scriptable object is not very useful for our purposes, though even that has its own use case. Here, you can declare any variable as you would in a regular C# class, and it would be editable in each instance of this scriptable object. Before we dive in, let's take a quick look over the lifecycle methods of a scriptable object. I made two classes you can play around with to get a better understanding of when each event is triggered. As you create, modify, and delete instances of this lifecycle SO, you will get messages in the console telling you which event got fired and a quick description of the conditions required for it to fire. Now on to the example. We're going to remake the customization feature from our new game Break Orbit, where you can change the spaceship and speed of the character. When we look at our character, we can see 4 variables we can customize that would alter the look and feel of the spaceship in-game. We have our speed float, sprites for both the spaceship and character, and a gradient for the trail color. We can modify it and rerun the game. Now suppose we wanted to have multiple variations of the player on the screen simultaneously. In that case, we'd have to duplicate a prefab and modify each prefab. Then save each prefab as a variant, flood in our prefab folder with a bunch of variations, or creating a complex script to save and parse presets. If your head hurts just from the thought, don't worry. Scriptable objects are here to make it easier. We can make a player config scriptable object, which would hold all the customization options we need. Then we create as many instances of it as we want presets for our players. So let's get started. We'll make a scriptable object just like before, and I'll name it player config SO. We need to add our customization variables here and remove them from our monobehavior, player controller, replacing it with a reference to our newly created scriptable object class. Next is updating the various references in player controller to use our new configuration scriptable object. And the refactoring is complete. Let's save and allow this to compile and go back to Unity. As you can see, our script is here, but we have no way of creating a new instance of it. So let's do that next. There are a couple ways of creating an instance of a scriptable object. You can use scriptableobject.createInstance. This method will create an in-memory instance of a scriptable object type provided. Quite frankly, I rarely use this. What you'll often use is the create asset menu attribute. Add it above your class for the default settings, or feel free to configure it further if you'd like. This attribute would add an option to create an instance of our scriptable object to the context menu. Now go back to Unity, right-click, and create a new instance. Doing so would create a new instance of our player config SO class as a serialized asset file. You can tweak it in the editor just like you would any other monobehavior. Now let's make a few instances and modify each of them. You can now drag one of those presets into our player class, run the game, and there you go. We decoupled our data from the controller class, giving us more room for easy customization in the future without any hard-coded modifications. Now, when working with scriptable objects, it's important to remember that, unlike monobehaviors, any changes you make to an instance of a scriptable object at runtime would remain after you stop the game. For example, let's run the game and edit the old class by changing its speed value and vehicle. Next, let's change the same values on our scriptable object. If we stop the game now, we can see that the monobehavior component returned to its original value, while the scriptable object retained its runtime value. This might be a desirable outcome, but sometimes you want the runtime value to return back to its initial value after you stop the editor. If you have some variables in a scriptable object that you'd like to return to their initial value, you can split them into two, one for the initial value and one for the runtime value. To prevent accidental overrides of the initial value by other classes, we'll make the initial value private and serialized. We don't have to serialize the runtime value, but that's up to you. Other classes would access this value, so let's make it public. We need to implement iSerialization callback receiver interface, and inside onAfterDeserialize, we override the runtime value with the initial value. Doing so would guarantee a fresh copy of the initial value every time we deserialize this asset. Lastly, we'll just update player controller to use the runtime value we declared and go test it in Unity. We'll set an initial speed and run the game. You can now mess around with the runtime speed. And when you restart the game one more time, the runtime value would reset back to the initial value we provided. Hopefully you have a better understanding of scriptable objects now, or at least learned a few new tricks. It's important to note that the way you use scriptable objects is entirely up to you. You can make them as granular or complex as you'd like, from empty or single value scriptable objects to preset behemoth with dozens of configuration knobs and buttons. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please subscribe, leave a comment below, and hit the like button. It helps a lot.
Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use scriptable objects to help you improve your game architecture. By the end we're going to be reading input, playing sound effects, and referencing our player's health with no dependencies. We're going to do all of this using scriptable objects, and they will be just as easy to use and access as singletons, but without the cons that come with using singletons. Ready? Let's go. So I use singleton classes a lot when I need to slap things together quickly. And if you don't know what a singleton class is, it's a tiny little pattern that ensures you can only have one instance of a script. Because if you have more, then you destroy the game object that script is sitting on. And the beautiful thing about this pattern is since we only have one instance of this script, we can make a static reference to it, which means we don't need to worry about which instance we're using, so we don't need to worry about get component or anything like that. We can just call methods directly from that script. However, this does have drawbacks. Let's say I have this audio manager singleton here, which handles playing all of my sounds. And now I've just created a new character and I want to be able to chuck them into a small isolated test scene to make sure that they're working properly. But without that audio manager game object, as soon as I try to play a sound, I'm going to get an error. And at first, for smaller projects, this can easily be worked around, but as your project grows in complexity and you have singleton references everywhere, now everything is dependent on the existence of everything, and you're needing to run basically the whole game loop in order to test one new little character, which is not ideal. The ideal game architecture will allow you to have everything be completely self-contained and just work. You could create a blank scene and chuck little pieces of functionality in there and they should just work. No managers, no dependencies of any kind. So I'm going to show you one way we can go about this for our input using a scriptable object. And scriptable objects are much more than just data containers for things like inventory and dialogue systems. Because they are assets, they are globally accessible and scene independent. So let's use that to our advantage. I have this little scene here with my player character that can run around, and my input is currently being read from this user input script here, which as you can see is a singleton class. So what I'm going to do is delete this because we're going to make a new one. I've got my input action asset here, and my preferred method is not to generate a C# class, and that's just because the way that I set up my key rebindings in my projects, they don't work with a class that's generated. But I will show you the code for what we're about to do if you decide that you want to use a generated C# class here afterwards. So I've got one action map called player, and inside we just have a few actions. I want to keep this very simple. So we're going to create a script called input reader, and let's open it up. As we said, this is going to be a scriptable object, and you can call the menu and file name whatever you want. Let's add the input system namespace. And now we'll need to link the input action asset to this script. So let's create a serialized field for it right here. And some boilerplate code that we're going to fly through. We need an input action for each of our actions. So one for move, jump, and attack. We can assign those using the find action method. And now we need to assign our callbacks. So we'll set up an onMove, onJump, and onAttack function with a callback context. And now we're going to need to manually subscribe and unsubscribe the started, performed, and canceled for all of our actions. We also need to enable and disable those input actions. And now we're going to add the UnityEngine.events namespace, because we're going to set up some public events of type Unity action. And for the move, let's make sure that we use a vector2 as the type. Okay, now in our onMove, we'll invoke the event, making sure to return a vector2. And in case you don't know, this question mark here is just shorthand for if this isn't null. For onAttack, if the event is not null and the context is started, then we'll invoke the event. And for onJump, we'll invoke the jump event if the context is performed. And we'll invoke the jump canceled event if the context is canceled. All right, now let's create an asset. And as soon as you create an asset, you're going to get a null reference exception. Don't worry about that. Just assign the asset here and clear the error. OnEnable gets called on a scriptable object whenever it's created, but now that it's assigned, we don't need to worry about it. So now in our player here, we just have a couple of small things to do. We need a reference to that input, and we can subscribe methods to the events from our input reader. So I'm just going to assign my move input float here and set a bool between true and false here. That's all my movement is really looking for. And actually I'm going to change this to a public. And my attack is very similar, it's just in its own script, but I'm grabbing the input from the player script, subscribing to the event, and unsubscribing. And I can take this doAttack function out of the update and get rid of this check for the input. I had to make a few changes to my player move functions as well. The specifics are not important. The part that's important here is that we're moving from checks directly from a singleton, which was user input, to instead subscribing to events in a scriptable object asset file. Okay, let's assign our asset in here. And there we go. You can see he's a prefab, and I can create a brand new scene with nothing but a camera, some lights, and a floor. And he just works. There's no singleton, there's no input manager needed, nothing. And I said I would show you the input reader code if you prefer setting up your input action asset with a C# generated class. What's nice about this method is you just implement an interface, which is the name of the generated class with an I, the name of your action map, actions. That will force you to create all of these methods here. And the rest is basically the same, there's just less boilerplate needed. The biggest difference is we get a reference to our generated class, and if it's null, we create a new one, and then set the callbacks. Enable that class and disable that class. And that's actually it for this one. A lot of the setup and boilerplate stuff is taken care of for you in the generated class. Okay, let's create an audio manager next. And real quick, if you're enjoying the video, then thank you if you leave a like or a comment. Now we're going to handle this one a little bit different because you're not even going to need a reference to it on the player. It's just going to sit in our project as an asset and everything's just going to work. So I'm going to create a script called Sound Manager SO. And again, we're going to change this to a scriptable object. And the way I like to do sound is to spawn it in and disable it after it's done playing. This has the advantage of being just as easy as using play clip at point, except you can actually assign the sounds to an audio mixer, which I use in all my projects. So to do that, we need a sound object that we're going to spawn in. And we'll use audio source as the type instead of a game object, just so that we don't need to call getComponent and look for the audio source each time we spawn one in. Okay, so what we're going to do is make a method called playSoundEffectsClip, and we'll take in an audio clip, a position to spawn it at, and a volume. So we're instantiating one in, and by the way, this is just an example, but I highly recommend that you don't actually instantiate and destroy. You're going to want to incorporate this into an object pool so that you can reuse the same assets over and over, but that's outside the scope of this video, but I will throw in a card here in case you want an easy object pooling system you can incorporate with this method. Okay, so we've spawned in our sound object, and what the heck, let's randomly adjust the volume and pitch slightly every time we play a sound just to make it a little less annoying to listen to. Now we'll assign the clip, the volume, the pitch, and finally we'll play the clip. And we'll create an overload method that works exactly the same, except this one is going to take in an array of clips, just in case you want to be able to pass in an array of clips and have one picked randomly for you. Now the thing is, I want to be able to just call soundmanager.so.play sound effects clip from any script. So for that to be possible, these need to be static methods, which means these also now need to be static. But now this is giving us an error because in order for this to work in a static method, we need an instance of this scriptable object. So we'll set up a private instance and a public property with a getter. And we'll say if the private one is null, then we'll do a resources.load and find our sound manager asset this way. And in order for that to work, we are going to need to make sure that we save our asset into a folder called resources somewhere. Okay, and then we'll return the instance. So now we can say instance.soundObject. So back in our project, we'll create a folder called resources and create a sound manager in there. And now we just need to create our sound object. So let's make a new object, add an audio source, and we don't need play on awake because we're playing it with code. And whether you're using an object pool or whether you're destroying it, you're going to need a script to handle that either way. So I'll create a script called sound destroyer and attach it. And this is as simple as getting a reference to the audio source in awake. And we'll turn our start into a coroutine and grab the length of the audio clip, weight the length of that clip, and then in my case, I'm destroying it, or you could deactivate it and return it to your object pool. Okay, so let's turn this into a prefab and assign it to our sound manager. I've got this little 8-bit jump sound effect here. So we're actually going to play it when our player jumps. And you can see it's as easy as calling soundmanager.so.play sound effects clip and just pass in the arguments. Now you can see the jump sound is playing whenever we jump. There's no singleton in the scene. There's nothing that lives in the scene at all. All right, the next example is really cool, but it's a pretty different way to work and it takes a little bit of getting used to. So we've got our player here and he's got a little player health script on him with a max health variable, pretty standard stuff. Now we're going to do two things. We're going to add a health bar to the player, and when the player's health gets below a certain value, we're going to play a heartbeat sound. And we can achieve this easily if we're just a little bit creative with our scriptable objects. But doing it this way, the health bar doesn't need to know about the player. The health bar doesn't even need to be attached to the player. We could attach it to anything and have it fill based on any float value. So we're going to create a script called float variable.
To avoid
it's going to be a scriptable object.
Game managers. It's really good.
And we'll create a float called value. And just to make things easier for later, we'll create a method that allows us to directly set it.
Gives less dependencies.
Or apply changes to it. Now let's create two new float variable assets. And let's add our health bar to our player. You'll notice it has a little script called health bar on there. And we're just passing in references to that player's current health and max health and finding the fill amount based on that. And I am keeping this very, very simple for the sake of this tutorial. So let's pass those in. I'll replace my player's max health here. And also I'll bring in this damage tester object here, which will just damage the player every time I press T on my keyboard. And finally, I'll bring in this sound when low object prefab here as well. Again, very simple. We reference our player's current health, and if it's below a threshold, then we're going to play the audio. And if it's above the threshold, then we'll stop the audio. Really, really basic stuff. And you can see I can press T, the health bar will update, and if we get too low, that sound starts playing. But nothing needs to know about the existence of anything else. I could even get rid of my player, and the sound effect will still work if I change the value around. I can add things into the scene, delete things out, even in play mode, and everything just works. Now, because it's a scriptable object, the health will persist even after you exit play mode, so you're going to want to code something up that will reset that for you when you want. But like I said, scriptable objects are far more powerful than something to just store data. You can use them to build a game that's more modular, easier to edit, and easier to debug.
I will use that.
There's
It's really
I'm going
good.
to link below that goes really in depth into this stuff.
I remember
highly
my
recommend you check
project
out if
and
you're interested in taking these
was
concepts
always
further.
full of
That's all I got, guys. I hope you enjoyed.
managers. Even we were the best team in our class, and we did many managers. This would have helped. Managers hell. It was a manager hell. There were like audio manager, scene manager, menu manager. It was really codependent with many codependents. This solution is really good. So I will go to the French live stream in a few minutes. So if you want to support
My first
me,
trip to the Quebec City area happened by chance.
if you want to support me, you can click on the description below in the YouTube video, and there's a platform for tipping for if you want to tip me, or you can become a Patreon, or else you can click on the Gumroad link, put $0 if you want the documentation I'm building as a template for your project. And that will be it for today. Next week we see Monday. I'll be probably starting the most important feature based on what will be. I will check like the priority and start from the ASAP to the other. So that will be it, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to give a like, subscribe, and tip if you can, or support me. Thank you. Have a nice day.